Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. And wow, we're at the middle of May almost. It is May 13th, 2026. And today we're going to be doing a paper pumpkin workshop. So, alive right along with you, I'm going to be making three card projects that are included in the kit, and we're going to zhuzh them up a little bit. I love that word, zhuzh. Zhuzh. What a great word. Anyway, as you're joining me today, please sign in your name, where you're watching from, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, you do need to be in your Google account or your YouTube account to use the comments. And so, in addition to introducing yourself, please also, if you have any questions, let me know. Or if you have some feedback on the projects I'm doing, that would be wonderful. So I'll welcome Renee. You're the first one on here. Oh, Renee, you don't get paper pumpkin. Well, maybe seeing this one is going to change that and have this be something that you want to add to your collection of stamping. I sure love them. I think I've told all of you, my husband buys this for me every year for Christmas, and I get a present every month, and I absolutely love it. And I'll tell you, I'm not ever disappointed. Do I sometimes like one design or, one set of stamps or a project better than another? Well, sure I do. But I always like them, and I always find a way to share them with others. And I don't have to create the designs, although I kind of think stuff up and change them up a little bit. And I get more out of the kit, usually than the number of cards that they're intending. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway, let me go ahead and I'm going to shift the camera down so that you can see the desktop. And this is my paper pumpkin that comes in the mail. And when it comes, let's see, this is going to be our April 2026. And this one is called Lakeside Retreat. And when you get your paper pumpkin, they're so cool because they come wrapped in tissue like a present. They give us clues about what may be included more than they used to, but it's still a surprise when you open it. Also, we get full color instructions, which really help when you're putting together the projects and you want to take advantage of the instructions that Paper Pumpkin has provided. Now, the kit that we're going to do today actually has 9 cards and 3 card designs with 3 cards of each type. And when you first open these color instructions, you're going to see that it tells you kind of how to look at all the parts and pieces and put them together for the different projects. Then we've got detailed instructions for use as we're stamping together. And then on the back, there's a picture of the stamp set that's included. You always get at least 1 stamp set. Sometimes they bonus us with additional ones. We also always get a Stampin' Spot. And this is Peaceful Pine, one of the new in colors. And this is gorgeous. This is going to be a wow for Christmas this year. Now, I'm going to use my new magnetic pad. Check it out. These are the new pads, easy to open, clicks together, and not only do the front and back magnetically go together, but you can stack these, and they're magnetic and stay together. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'm loving them, the new in colors. I've been playing with them. And then on the bottom here, it always tells us the coordinating colors. And that was really helpful because I am going to be using the card fronts and backs to make more than just one card. I'm going to make 2 cards out of each one. So let's see now. Why are we not seeing our desktop here. Let's try to open this back up again. I'll tell you, technology drives me crazy. Well, let me just open this all over again. Okay, let's see what's the issue here. It just disappeared. Well, that hasn't happened before, so you're seeing a first. Let me just invite this phone again. So we're going to do that and send it to my phone. Oh my goodness. It's definitely testing me today. All right, we've got that. Let's send this. All right, it's sending. There we go. Popped up on my phone. All right, now open the phone and hit it again. All right, now you should we're back. Sorry about that. All right. There we go. So back to looking at the instructions. I was telling you I just used the coordinating colors, which are listed so that I can figure out what I want to add to this. And then zhuzhing it up today, I decided one way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to make each of the projects right out of the gate here a fun fold. And I'm going to show you a really simple fold design that you could repeat over and over again and just delight people that you send cards to. So we're going to get our instructions ready for card 1. And I'm going to take, I decided to use Old Olive as my card base on this one. So let me just get my trimmer out. And this is such an easy card base. So this is really the whole thing. This is a fun fold. I'm going to take my Old Olive. This is one piece of regular cardstock. And I'm going to cut this on the long side at 5.5 inches. And this is going to be a regular size card that fits in a medium envelope. And I'm going to score this at 1/4. So I get a good fold for my card. And then I'm going to take the second half of this cardstock and I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. And I'm actually going to cut this actually in half. Okay. So let me set this aside. And you know what? I do need to put one more fold in here. And I'm going to do that at 2 5/8 because that is half of 4 1/4. So 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 1/2, and then 2 5/8. Okay, and I want to make sure that you're not cutting, that you're using your scoring blade. All right, and that's not the right measurement. What? Let's see. I think I've done this more than one time. I think it's 2 1/8, not 5/8. All right. Well, we're going to have a little extra crease in here, but not to worry. 2 1/8 is actually half of 4 1/4. Traci math always rears its ugly head. Anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's going to be better. So we're going to fold the front, back, and then our usual fold. Okay, so there's part of our fun fold. Let me get my bone folder so I can put this together. So let me repeat. This is taking a regular 5.5 by 8.5. First scored at 4.25, and then the other score is 2 1/8. And then you just make this flat. And then you take a regular card front. This is a full card front, so it's 5.5 by 4.25. And we're going to secure that on this front flap to make our fun fold. Okay. And all I'm going to do in order to have that happen is I'm going to put glue on this little flap. That's part of the larger card base. So let's just get that in place. So I'm using my multi-purpose glue. All right. So let's see. Now it's saying it's having trouble streaming to Facebook. So if you're not seeing the streaming, but you're hearing me, you might want to go to YouTube. And my channel is Plum Crazy Stamping, so that you can see this in case you are not seeing this on Facebook. All right. So now we have our fun fold, and it's one of those that sits up. So this is really nice for people to be able to display. Let's see. I am just going to save this and we'll keep going, and I hope that you can see this. And let's see. Hi, Kim. And it says that it's waiting for a broadcast. Let me know if you're seeing this on Facebook. You may not be able to hear me, but otherwise it's on YouTube. All right, let's get our first card together here. And these are all the parts and pieces. So look at these beautiful envelopes. They're always provided. So there's 9 of them. But you know what? How easy would it be able for you to make from white envelopes, matching envelopes, using Pool Party, Balmy Blue, it looks like, and maybe a little bit darker blue as well. What's that one? Let's see what the instructions say. And you can make matching envelopes for additional cards. Oh, Misty Moonlight. That would do it. Okay, let's go ahead. So what I'm going to do with this one here, so I've got all parts and pieces here, and I'm actually going to cut this right in half because this is beautiful. Yes, back of a card, but do I need that? Gosh, no, I'm going to use this for a whole nother card on a different day. But we're going to cut just the front part of this off. So I'm going to put this at 4.25, and I'm going to keep this card front full-sized. All right, so I've got 2 card pieces here. This I'm setting off for another day. And this one is just going to get adhered right to the front of that old olive. Okay. So let's just take this to the side, and we're going to glue this right on. Okay, so I'll just slide this in place. One of the wonderful things about using the green glue, as we so lovingly call it, and it'll slide right in place. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to take the parts and pieces here that we first need to stamp on. So we've got all kinds of die cuts here. We'll just set them to the side, and then we're going to grab our pieces that need to be stamped on. And we've got also, there were embellishments. They look like little rocks. Were provided in this kit as well. And let me get my Pierce mat, because I'm using photopolymer stamps. So let's just set this right here so we can stamp on it. All right, and we're first going to stamp on the little sign that we have here. So let's see, we're going to do Happy Father's Day, and I'm going to be using the new Peaceful Pine. I'm just going to tap on this brand new ink pad and center right on, looks like a little clipboard kind of, right in the center. Whoops. And I haven't conditioned these stamps, so I better watch what I'm doing. Let me see if I don't have, a little piece of scrap paper here just to get this inked up. And I'm actually going to wash it with the chamois because it doesn't seem to be taking the ink the way I want it to, and drying that off. And then I'll go back in there again, and let's see if we can't get a better ink coverage. Much better. Okay. And I'm going to center this. All right, and then we've got a little, looks like a little rope kind of thing. And there, that took the ink really good. I'm going to just set this on here so I don't stamp on my Pierce mat. And I'm going to put some on the top and the bottom of this little sign. Okay, so we've got that. And let's see what we have next. We have to do the sentiment here, and that's going to be, I'll tell you, this is like mice type on here. You are an inspiration. All right, where did that one go? You are an inspiration. And I'm actually going to wash this other stamp so I can use my acrylic block again. And we'll just line this up on here. Okay, and remember, this is not conditioned, so I'm going to test it. Okay, we've got our sentiment on there. And then I think we're going to actually stamp right on the card front. I probably should have waited to do my stamping before I glued everything together. But we're going to add some little, what are these, cattails. So I'm going to test this as well. There we go. Yep, that's doing well. And we're going to do this right in the front of the card here. All right, and did we do it anywhere else? Just there. Okay, so we've got our little cattails, and then we're going to do our seagulls in the background. Let me make sure I don't have them flying upside down. That would be about my speed on a Wednesday afternoon. So we'll test those. Oh, all right, they're looking good. We're going to put those right up here in the corner. Okay. So we have all of our stamping done between this and our die cuts. Let's go ahead and just cover that for now. And go ahead and put the parts and pieces together. So first, let's go ahead and put our Happy Father's Day right on this little clipboard looking thing. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to use a little of my glue. You could use tear and tape, I think is what they had shown, but a little faster to do it this way. I'm just going to center it on here. There we go. Okay, and we've already got our adhesive on the back of these, so that's good. We have to put adhesive on the back of our You Are an Inspiration. So I tell you where it's going to stick on top of this other piece of designer series paper or die cut. I'm going to put a little piece of tear and tape. So this comes in a roll and literally it just tears off. And then I'm going to put two mini glue dots or mini dimensionals on the other side. All right. And we've got our fish with just dimensionals on one side, because that's also going to go on this part that is standing up. And then in the end, we'll go ahead and put our embellishments. So let's first do this really cool plaid accent that they're putting on here. And I never really thought about just doing this on the side of a landscape, but I kind of like the way this looks. So you could use this in a card design at some other point. Whether it be designer series paper like this one is, or, you know, just use a embossed piece of cardstock or plain cardstock and give something, you know, dimension. All right, so we've got that. Now let's take, I need my take your pick tool here. It's always easy to get the tear and tape off with that, and you can also use this to quickly pick up the tops of your dimensional adhesive covering. And this is going to be the bottom of what we're doing here. So we're going to, let's see. Since it's plaid, I'm trying to line it up with the lines. And then we're going to take the adhesive covering off of our sentiment here. then we're going to layer that right over the top. And so that's one of the things. I put the flat tear and tape on this side, and then I popped up this side so that it matched this popped up piece of die cut. Now we've got this little fish. I'm going to take the adhesive covering off of these mini dimensionals and use the same approach to have it line up. Wow. All right. And then I just love these little rocks. So now we're going to take 5 rocks and we're going to place them on the card front here to add a little something special. So there's some flat ones. So we'll do one of the flat ones here. And then there's a little bit more, kind of a round triangular looking one. Let's put that up a little higher. Okay, so we've got some rocks on this side, and now we're going to do rocks on the other side of the pier here. Okay, and then 2 of the other shaped rocks. Okay. We've got 3 on this side. All right. So now the one thing I want to do, so to zhuzh this card up, we made a fun fold, right? But I don't know if you all remember, we had these pebble enamel shapes. Boy, this was a while ago. But I love these, and I had bought extra. So I thought what I would do, because there's additional colors of rocks, darker, a little bit lighter, I thought I would add a few here, maybe just add 2 to make it, still an odd number. So we're going to go for 7, and let's just, let's see. I think I'm going to put one on the other side, the smaller one. So there'll be a rock over here right on the corner. And then I'm going to take, let's see, I think I'll take another flat one here that we have, but a different color, and just kind of match that on this side. Okay, so we've kind of now got 7 rocks and differing colors, which adds a little bit to this. All right. So that is one way I can dig in my embellishments and see what else I can find, right? And then I also found these. Now, dragonflies and kind of gulls. What do they call this? Yeah, or dragonflies and birds. So I thought this would also be a good way to add something else to this. So I think I'm going to just add 1 dragonfly over these little reeds. And so I'll put that right in the middle there. And so that's how I decided to zhuzh up this card. And then, I'm going to have a whole nother card to use the plaid front and some other parts of this. Or I wanted to share with you, there is a stamp set that looked much like this. I can't remember what it's called, but you may have in your stash. Otherwise, this is a new bundle that's available called Relaxing Waterside. And this would be very pretty to use on the plaid, which was the back of that card, and to make this a masculine and or Father's Day card or a birthday card. And then something else that just came out. Well, shell collecting has been around, but wouldn't this be pretty, to put on the bottom of this pier and or, use with the plaid. And then there is, this is called Rolling Waves dies and shells that could be used with this paper pumpkin. Just some other options to get more out of these cards. All right, well, we're done zhuzhing up card 1. Let's go ahead and do card 2. And I'm just going to show, isn't that pretty with the envelope? All right, card 1 down. Let's go to card 2. A little bit different focus with this azure afternoon and misty moonlight. And this time I'm going to add some linen thread to the mix. So we'll leave that there, and I hope not to forget. That's why I'm telling you about it right away. I decided that Pool Party was the color that I wanted to use to zhuzh up this card. So we'll take this envelope and set it to the side. And then I've already cut this card base. Oh, but I have to do my additional scoring here at 2 1/8. So let me just bring the trimmer up here and do that. On the front, 2 1/8. Make sure you have your scoring blade, right? Hi, Kelly. Oh, and Betty, you can't get the broadcast. I'll tell you, I'll be putting this on Facebook with a connection to the YouTube video so that you'll be able to watch it. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. I'm going to have to contact them. But we'll finish our broadcast. At least you will have it to watch on the replay. And for those of you that are seeing it, you will also have it on the replay. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue this right on the front. To make this one fold. And I just use the edges of the card to actually push this in place so that you have the card front. And then now on the inside, you can decorate these panels with designer series paper. You can stamp on them. You can leave them plain. You could put a full 2 sides and put different sentiments on them. Put white paper in here if you'd like to just kind of add to this. But remember, then it sits up so nice. Okay. Now let's go to making our card front and see what we want to do with this one. I'm going to also cut this card in half. So remember, this is at 4 1/4. And you're going to have 2 matching card fronts. And you can cut these down if you want to make a frame around this. You could cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. Or this will be as large as the full card front, just like the other one we did. And because this has already got another large piece of designer series paper, I'm going to leave this one full. So I'm going to glue this on as is. I like these stripes. Okay, and once again, just slide it in place once you're on top of the pool party. Okay, so now this looks a little different. All right, and we're going to do some stamping. Let's get our stamping done before we start layering things. I'm going to put my linen thread right on top of this card front because that is where I'm going to be wrapping it. And then we've got a die cut landscape. We've got a bicycle. Isn't that nice? I like it. And we've got two things. We're going to do our sentiments here. And I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat. Let's keep our scrap paper if we need to condition something, right? So this one we're doing happy birthday. So let's get this right here and find the happy birthday. And let me get the ink that we need, continuing to use our Peaceful Pine. We'll condition this here. Make sure we get a good stamped image. I'm going to wash this again. Okay. Oh, perfect. It's amazing how just doing that little conditioning, you know, stamping it off, washing it, drying it, and then doing it again, you know, gets it just the way we need it. Okay, so we've got our happy birthday. All right, now we need the older, wiser, and better. And I'm going to put that on that block that I had. Here it is. And we'll check this out because once again, I'm conditioning, right? Ooh, that one worked well on its own. So let's just grab the die cut here, our sentiment label. Take a peek and then just center it. There we go with that. I'll tell you, if there's one block you might want to buy a couple of this size. I have 2 or 3 of those, and actually I think I need a few more because I use that one, you know, over and over and over again. All right, we've got that part. Now we're going to actually do some stamping on our landscape here. So we'll just set these aside and do the landscape, and we're going to do the seagulls again. So let me make sure that I have them going the proper direction. There we go, okay. And this time we're going to put them on this side. And let's see. All right, we're going to do the grass in a couple of different places here. Our cattails. Now with one of those other sets, you could also even add more, you know, some of the weeds and greenery, you know, that we see on the beach. Let's see, and I think we're going to put another one even up here a little more. It just really adds some depth by putting multiple ones of those on there. All right, I think we're ready to put this together. So let me put the lid back on. And we're going to have to add a little adhesive here because I didn't do it on the back of the ones that I needed to stamp on. So we're going to put some mini dimensionals on our happy birthday. And we're going to put some on the older, wiser, better. Okay. And we have it all on the bikes. But the thing that I didn't want to forget was to get the linen thread on here. But what I want to do is first get this placed. And the kit has provided the tear and tape to get this on the card front. So we'll just put one piece on the top and one to the bottom. And you know what? You could use your green glue on this too, because the thing when I'm using tear and tape, I have to be careful is to make sure I get it placed in the right place right away so that it doesn't, it's not crooked. So I'll be placing it very lightly until I'm sure that I like where it lands. All right, so it looks like they're putting this more up to the top, and that is exactly what I'm going to do as well, because I want to feature the linen thread below. Okay, so we've got that where we want it. And now I'm going to do the wrapping of the thread, because then I will do the sentiments. So let's see, we're going to need, actually to the front, I'm going to leave some of this so I can tie a bow. And then, let's see, we're going to start wrapping from the front. And I think I'm going to go 1, 2, come around the third time. Okay, and I'll be kind of playing with this a little bit so I can get it to look the way I want. And then I'm going to leave a tail on this other side to also be able to tie the bow. Okay. So I'm going to have these come together under the happy birthday. Let me just see if I can't make just a knot and then do what I want with the wrapped strings. And so I need to shore these all up a little bit. That one actually has to come down. And you know what? You may also just want to, so that you can pull them together. I like kind of how it looks when it comes together as a triangle. I'm going to slide this under here. And that's one of the ways I'm going to get this, but I will work with that once I get the sentiment in place. So now I'm just going to tie a knot. Oh, no, it'll be all right. Enough on both sides to tie a bow. All right, so I'll just leave this here for right now and slide this up. And slide these down. And that should frame our sentiment very nicely. Okay, so let's find the sentiment here. Take off the adhesive. This is going to go right along, let's see, the bottom edge. And then we have the other sentiment to go right on top of that. All right, and so I'm going to just put that on top. The older, wiser, better. Okay, and then we have our bike. Let's just take off these pieces of adhesive a little bit more quickly by using our Take Your Pick tool. Okay. And put this right in the center. And then we'll tie our bow right here underneath our sentiment. Manage the size of those loops a little bit. All right, pull this one and pull this one just a little bit. And have this peeking out. You might need to put a mini glue dot underneath to hold that in place. All right, there we go, and trim that part off. So we've got our little bow right there. And now we're going to actually just take off all of the tops of these mini dimensionals and put it right onto the front. So the big thing is remembering if you want to use ribbon or linen, thread or twine, to do that before you attach this to the card. I'm going to make that right there. And if you want these to shore up a little bit, you can take a little tape and pull them to the center. And that will help keep a little tension on the other side so that they stay in place. All right, I think I got all those off. And now this is going to be one of those times when you're doing the dimensionals that you actually have to line it up and place it real lightly before you press all the way down. And so we zhuzhed this up a little bit by adding that linen thread. All right, and then we can do the same to this. We've got our 3 little rocks we're going to put on here, and they are suggesting that we put them around the base of the of our cattails, and I'm going to add an extra one over on that side. So there we go with card 2. Isn't that beautiful? For summer and, you know, masculine. And like I said, you can add white in here. You can add other colors of paper to finish this card off. So that is card 2. And now let's go to card 3. And this one I decided to use gray granite as my card base. because it's got this cool fence-like look for this one. Take all of our parts and pieces here and slide those off. And I'm going to do the additional score line on here to make my fun fold. So at 2 1/8, and I'm going to make sure that I use my scoring blade here. Okay, and then I'm also going to cut this one right in half, so I'll have 2 card fronts that match, and I'm cutting this at 4 1/4. Okay, so I'll have this to make another card. And we're going to fold this one back the 2 1/8, and then we're going to on the 4 1/4. We're going to press that down. And then to create our fun fold, I'm going to glue this as I did the other 2. Use my desktop here to make sure everything gets squared up. Okay, we have a little stamping to do on this card front. So I'm going to just set this aside. Let's bring in our mat again. And this time we're going to take those same cattails, but we're going to just do them in another direction so that there is some greenery on here. And we're going to put them kind of at an angle down towards the bottom here. And do the same thing onto the other side. Okay. And then we're going to do the other stamping. So we have sentiment label that we need to do. We've got all kinds of things with adhesive already on, but we're going to make another little sign. And this one is going to say, "Thanks, Dad." So we'll go ahead and stamp this one up. And I tried to see how if I could put it on the same thing, sure enough. But I'm going to wash this one. Just like I had to do the other one, right? Now let's see if we can't ink that up a little better. Oh, much better. Okay, and I'm going to center this again so I can use those little rope-like things to add a little more of an accent to this. So we've got our "Thanks, Dad." And now let's grab this and our other acrylic block, put it on top. And we're also going to put, what's this other one going to be? "You are a lifesaver." It's going to be also on here. So I'll just set that there until we're ready for it. get our little rope-like look for on this little sign. That's what I love about Stampin' Up! Are the little details that you would never get if you just bought a, um, single stamp somewhere. Okay, now let's do our other larger sentiment here. And we'll see how this takes the ink right out of the gate. Excellent. Okay, this one we're going to not quite center. All right. And let's see, we've done the cattails. We have all of that stamping done, so we can put our ink cover back on here. Now I'm telling, I wanted to just share with you, the reason I thought that we would just zhuzh these up a little bit and make the fun fold is because I love these cards as they were, and I didn't want to be pulling them apart and not using them. Sometimes I enjoy, making the alternatives. I'll tell you, other times they're just so nice that I don't want to change them. So this is one of those situations. I really love this design. So let's just take all the tops off of here. I also love the fact that this is, a number of more masculine cards, or for people that love the outdoors, or, they have a cabin or a cottage maybe, and, have a pier with the pontoon boat. Anyway, I don't have a lot of cards like this, so I really wanted to use them as they were designed because I just think they're gorgeous. And let's just center this there. And then we've got the tear and tape on the back here to actually secure this to the card front. Oh, I'm peeling the tear and tape right off. There we go. Okay, and let's go ahead and center this. Actually, it goes up a little higher than the center, so we can put all of these other items down below. Okay, and then we're going to do the first sentiment, and that's going to have some tear and tape on it here. So we'll just go right down the middle. Like I said, I love tear and tape. If you don't have some, I'd put it on your wish list. It comes in handy for quick, adding adhesive, and it also, it's strong. So when I make 3D projects, I find myself using the tear and tape as well. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to do the dad one here, and I'm going to use my green glue again. Whoops. And just put the front of this little sign on here. So what I like is this is a little getting ahead of the Father's Day card needs. I'm going to make some in a couple of weeks with the Barbecue Master grill set. It's very fun. But in case you don't have that, but you have this, you'll be all ready to go. Okay, so we've got that. And then let's do our oars for in the water. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of my days when I used to go. I went canoeing in the Boundary Waters and had to portage over 100-pound canoe. And when we came back from our canoe trip, which was through my Luther League at church, when they had a picture of me with that canoe on my back, they played the song "It's a Miracle." I thought it was pretty funny. We put it together and set it to music, and then our parents came to, check out what we'd been doing. And yeah, it was very fun. But, who do you think was the one that dumped neatsfoot oil? Of course, I needed to have, don't ask me why, my oil for my hiking boots in my backpack. And yes, it dumped over on the rock when I was out deciding to oil up my boots in the lake. And I created a little oil slick, and we had to go over to the next lake and get water because I had created a oil slick. And asked me if I got the Green Horn Award for doing that very not so bright thing. Yep, that would be the case. All right, so now we've got that, and now we'll put this over, and let's see, I think I'm just going to glue this right on with my green glue so I can have the adjustment factor, right? Okay. Now, if you have more than one Father's Day card already, obviously you could make this another happy birthday card. Okay, so now let's see, what can we do to zhuzh this one up? So I went back into my embellishments, and I had some that I thought might go. So these are very bright blue, so they'd just kind of be an accent. Then I have, these are gray, white, and blue. These actually might really be cool to just use as embellishments because it's the three colors kind of matching this. And then I have these pieces of faux sea glass shapes, and they match the colors of those trees. I'm not quite sure, and I don't know that this is working for you guys to give me feedback. But, it really could be either one of these. So do I want to use larger gems or smaller gems and kind of put them together? We used rocks on those other ones. Let's go ahead and just use some nice embellishments on here. And which color? Either more the pine trees, the white of the fence, or that blue. That was pretty. All right, I'm going to have these so they're not quite the center of attention, but they accent this. So let's see. I think I'll keep them on the card front. And we'll put 3 of them there. Okay. So these are the 3 projects that were a part of the kit, but just a little bit something extra and making them all into fun folds so that you have parts and pieces and you could do other things with other stamp sets that you have to share these beautiful cards. Let's go like this for this one. Yeah, oh my, I'll tell you, I really loved this kit. What do you think? I would love to know. And there we go. So in looking at those three paper pumpkins, let me just tell you a little bit what else is going on that I'm offering. If you're looking at this, now Renee said she doesn't have paper pumpkin, but loves to watch this. So, maybe that's something you want to start, and whether it's a paper pumpkin order or ordering other things from the new catalog and the new online exclusives, the new tutorial that I'm sending with a $50 purchase during the month of May is called Cutest Crew. So birds, kittens, and puppies, you can still get this set, but you can use these designs for, these could be the shells I was showing you earlier. This could be fish. This could be flowers. It could be anything that you have, but you have 4 free card designs that I emailed to you. And then if you would put in a $75 purchase during this month, Stampin' Up! Is offering a product of the month for $5, and it is designer series paper 12 sheets called Berry Botanical Vellum. Very pretty, very, very pretty, great colors. And this is probably a $12.50 or a $14.50 value because vellum is specialty paper, and they have it designed in plaid, dots, and then florals. Perfect timing for summer and for picking your berries and maybe writing a little note if you want to share them with someone you love. Anyway, with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. If there's anything that I can do to help you, don't hesitate to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. And I'll say happy stamping, friends. Thank you. Bye-bye now.